Hi everyone, this is Bic Benedict. Thanks for resuming your watching of my guide. We're on Chapter 9, The Heart of Darkness, Ninja Gaiden 2, Master Ninja difficulty. I have the Tonfa equipped because I want to start murdering people in grand fashion. So this is going to be probably a fairly long chapter. As I speak, I haven't completed the Trial of Valor, but in my defense, I've been doing stuff actually, other things besides the guide, and I haven't got to the Test of Valor, so I don't even know what it involves. But it shouldn't be something that I can't do, because nothing that this game has thrown at me so far has ever stopped me from doing it. So I think that's a healthy attitude sometimes in life, because there's stuff that you face and you think you can't do it, but you can. It just takes a little persistence. Anyway, this is a cash cow of a level, so there's a lot of money to be had in this chapter. This first part's a real bad nuisance, though. So hit these guys with the Inferno. You have two rocket launcher enemies across the way on the platform over there by the store. I'm not sure how this one survived. But the reason I say without any hesitation to draw magic there is because we're going to be killing a lot of water mines, and I sped this up because it's completely redundant and takes forever. But there's more of a chance that you'll get a Nimpo drop here than not, so just go ahead and use the Nimpo. So I got this kind of odd looking screen right here where I can see above and below the water. I'm not even aiming. You notice there's no red reticule in the middle of the screen, that little dot. So just proceed very carefully here. And when I say very carefully, I mean just go very slowly and don't take it for granted that you've killed a wave. That's what happened to me over here. I thought I killed all these guys. I think a water mine takes half your damage. But if you get hit by a couple, you're over with. You're done. Yeah, so that looks like it took away more than half my damage right there. What I did want to point out very specifically, though, is that the water mines in this whole area by the store, there are a finite number of them. So even though I don't believe I took them all out, you can, and they will stop spawning, and you can move freely about. I've heard some other people telling me that, well, they didn't tell me, but I've just read comments that every water mine in this stage can be taken out, and without any respawn. But I think in this area over here, I've tested it for a while, but it's just without any rapid fire. You have to keep pressing the B button. I don't want to do this for hours, I'm sure it wouldn't take that long, but I just don't want to do this. I don't want to kill all these guys, so now I'm just sprinting past. Pretty much, a good way of knowing, you'll know you've killed all the enemies in the vicinity when all the money rushes back into you, like it did right there. So that's a really good indicator that it's safe to proceed. But first of all, don't take my word for it, because the circumstances in your gameplay might be different. Also, there's usually two rocket launcher enemies up here. I'm not sure how that happened to where they didn't spawn, but this part up here took me, honestly, I did 3 sessions of an hour long each, so this took me over 3 hours, and I don't even think I was playing at my best, but that's not an excuse to not do well. But it's one of those things where it's not even hard; it's just so annoying, and I can't see anything here. I have to put down the leg rest on my office chair and get really close to the screen, not because I can't see anything really, but it's because the targets are so tiny. Try to throw guys into the water too if you can. Guillotine, throw them into the water, they'll drown. Don't worry about getting the credits. Now the searchlights in this area, they can be destroyed, but if you destroy the searchlights before you activate this whole battle and before the gate closes behind you when you jump into the water for the first time, that's completely pointless, because the searchlights are just going to go back on. But if you're into this kind of area and you hit the searchlights, they'll stop. They won't go back on. They may go back on when you fight the rocket launcher enemies, but I'm telling you, I've done this so many times. It does not matter if you have the searchlights on you or not. The enemies are no less accurate with their rockets. if the searchlights are out. Trust me. I mean, the game knows where you are. You're not fooling anyone. But sometimes when the searchlights, they can be kind of annoying visually. I don't know. So if you want them, oh yeah, anytime you're underwater, you cannot get hit. So take that into consideration. I'm not sure how 2 guys spawn up here. But definitely you need incendiary shurikens for this section. It's very important. And if you're going to use a lot of Nimpo, try not to use very many incendiary shurikens and vice versa. I personally don't think that the incendiary shurikens can damage the rocket launcher enemies. The first set of rocket launcher enemies must be killed, but the second set can be skipped. But I'm not skipping any enemies in this run through of the game. So I'll tell you, you're going to get one cutscene. The first cutscene signifies that you've killed all of the enemies in the vicinity, and then that means that you're going to have rocket launcher enemies coming out, and then you're going to go over to acquire the key, and then after you acquire the key, after the gate is lowered, you're going to insert the key in the slot, and then you can freely resume your way down the level without having to kill the rocket launcher enemies. Nice to see those bodies floating in the water. That's really cool. But since I'm leaving no head unsevered in my walkthrough, I stuck around and did the battle, even though it meant meant my peril many times. But it's safe to do, especially when you're. I'm being very, even though you just saw me use a Nimpo there, I'm being very conservative with my magic. And okay, so about the chest. The chest right there that you see, that's 1 Nimpo. So if I open it, it's going to give me 1 Nimpo orb. If your Nimpo orbs are filled up, it's going to give you a Devil Way Mushroom. There is one box that has a complete restock of your Nimpo. So ideally, you want to come here with all three or four of your Nimpo that you have in your key gauge and 3 Devil Way Mushrooms, just to take out the rocket launcher enemies, and because they can be killed with arrow UTs. It's just that when I said that this is not hard. Here's the cutscene, by the way. When this cutscene occurs, you can actually go get the key, but I think the bridge. I mean, you could bust down the door that gives you access to the key, but you can't take the key over to the slot until you kill these guys. So that's how it works. You could also bust out the Gatling spear gun if you want over here, and it's not the worst thing in the world to do. Actually, I actually used it a couple times when I ran out of Nimpo. The thing about that though is you have to be fairly close to the enemies to use it without, because you can't hit them unless you're reasonably close. So see how I was pretty close to these guys, and now I'm just gonna take them out. Here I was aiming, but I said it's more accurate if you don't even aim though, because if you have the game auto aim for you, it knows where all the enemies are. Same with the arrows. See, I'm not even aiming; it's just taking care of all of them. And if I get into dire straits or something, if I get hit with too many rockets, I'll just stop doing it and do something else. But there's a lot more rocket launcher enemies after this, though. But I want to stress that you don't have to fight them. Only do so if you're really dead set on getting that Master Ninja rank or something like that, because it does depend on how many kills you've gotten in the stage. Okay. Also, when the music subsides, that's an indication that you've killed everything. So it looks like I just got one guy left here. And then once things settle down, we can go get all the treasure chests and go get the key, and then move on with our quest. But since I have that running theme going in my guide to leave no head unsevered, I'm going to put myself at peril and fight the enemies. But it's not that much peril you're in, really, because there's a lot of items over here to pick up, and you have resources. Okay, so that's the key slot. The little, I don't know what we obtain. It's some kind of a key or a plate. Anyway, I have 1 flame in my key gauge, so that was health orbs over here. Up here is Life of the Gods number 6 of our new set. I believe it's 6. I'll have to see. I know I bring it up here. 6. So we need 3 more. And like I said a minute ago, when I have 1 flame in my key gauge. So it makes no sense for me to open that chest that has the complete refilling of the Nimpo right now. That chest, I thought this was unopened, so sorry about that. The next chest I come across, though, over here, it has complete Nimpo restock. So don't open that box unless you have 0 Nimpo. This has a herb of spiritual life, and then this chest either has money or ghost fish. Fortunately, I got the ghost fish. That was good. Got my 5,000 to 6,000 in essence for doing that UT kill on all the fish. And now I'm going to go down here. I think the main problem for me about this section is that it's not hard. And even though I said it took me 3 hours, it's just because I wasn't playing properly. I don't know. You get into a funk like that, and then you come back the next time, and then you beat it on the first try without even trying too hard. But anyway, when you come back up here, more rocket launcher enemies. But I want to stress that if you just want to head on over to the right and put the engraving or whatever it was into the slot, you don't have to fight the rocket launcher enemies. And I skipped them last time, and I said I'm not skipping them this time, no matter if it takes me 4 hours to beat this or 6 hours. It's just that I needed to sharpen up and, straighten my back up and just focus on the topic at hand. So I'm gonna get some more Nimpo. It's nice to have the Inferno at level 3, so you can target 3 foes. Make sure they all burn up though before you start tossing another one. Just don't start tossing them like a madman. Just wait until you see more enemies come in here who are targetable, like I exampled right there. So, but as always happens, there's more enemies than I have Nimpo for. So probably going to use the Gatling spear gun if I can. But if I wanted to, I could just go behind a corner up there and try to shoot them with arrows. They do get stunned like normal enemies with an arrow when you're jumping and shooting them with an arrow. They get stunned. It's just that I don't know. You're a priority for everybody here, so they're always shooting rockets here at you. It's very annoying, and sometimes just getting up onto one of these ladder staircases is a chore. So overall, it's not that difficult. It's just tedious and it's annoying. See how I was stunning that guy? And these guys move around a little bit too fast for my liking. And even though I was auto-targeting it, see how I'm auto-targeting them? They're still moving around too fast. So you really have to wait for them to stop moving for a minute. But I mean, when you're stop moving, you're a target, you're vulnerable. So I gave up on this idea and I just said, let me just use the Gatling spear gun. If I get hit, I'll just heal myself. But I'm not even going to aim. I mean, I was aiming here, but I quickly gave up on aiming because I knew how... It's pretty much all my fault because I'm a bad shot. But like I said, the computer knows where these enemies are, and if you're auto-targeting them, it's just he's just gonna shoot them anyway. So just let the computer do the work. See, he's shooting them. I'm not doing a single thing here except tapping the B button. To get out of the aiming mode, though, just let go of the left trigger, and then he'll just the camera will pan back, and then you'll lose the red sight reticule, which you want. You don't want to have it on there. You just want to blind fire like this, and then just take these guys out. And then oh yeah, what I was doing here was I was diving under the water, so the rockets couldn't hit me. And then when I saw that a volley of rockets had all expired, then I would go up and resurface and then just deal more damage to these guys. I think there's only one guy left. And I'm not even aiming, I'm not even looking at him. And he's all dead, and we took care of that situation, which it's pretty much of a nuisance, I would say, overall. It's a couple places like that exist in this chapter, and it's probably one of the reasons that I don't really care for this level too much. The chapter that I have my eyes set on and I have vengeance to exact, is chapter 11. Because I fled from that first battle and I felt bad that I did it, and I still feel bad. So I definitely have a vendetta against that chapter. And holy moly, when you see me doing that chapter, just think that Big Benedict's getting his revenge. because I have a feeling that level might be 3 hours. So get prepared for that. Oh yeah, here if you walk off, if you just walk forward on the platform, it'll throw you in the water. So be very, very careful, because I did one of those sequences, spent 15 minutes doing it, and got killed by a water mine. It's horrible. And then over here I decided to start murdering these fools with the tonfa. Does a very, very good job. And I wanted to get some money to make up for some of the things that I lost in the previous battle, some of the resources that I had to exhaust from all the demands that that scenario throws at you. So I did some standard combat, got some counterattacks, but for the most part I just wanted to do some UTs. I'm addicted to this UT. It's really cool, and it's so good. I can't tell you how effective it is at slaughtering fuckers. I mean, look at this. It's like a meat grinder. So just be very careful over here, and save your definitely save some daggers, save some incendiary shurikens. Either save those, or if you don't have those, hopefully you have some nympho. The guys up ahead, they're placed in such a way that it's an act of cruelty, like I mentioned in the first chapter, with those two sets of the archers near one of the save points where you're trying to cross ledges, and they put archers on the other side who shoot at you. Same deal here. There's water mines below, so I'm just throwing daggers. I mean, I think they can be unspawned, so test that if you don't want to face these guys. I mean, if you didn't have any arrows and you didn't have any incendiary shurikens, how would you do that? Come on, man. Give the player infinite arrows. It's not like the arrows are explosive arrows or those core rods from Ninja Gaiden Sigma 1. Anyway, ignore the water mines. Just don't fall down there, obviously. We're going to be coming back over here to go to the store, but I think I do my shopping off camera. Just be aware of these enemies up here. They're the same enemies. So I got my UT off right there, and we're going to be facing the Amazonian Deathworm. Presently, watch out for the save point. It's going to dim, meaning that we have another enemy coming at us. And I think I got fewer enemies on this chapter overall, because remember in the beginning when I was coming up to that first save statue, those two rocket launcher guys weren't there, and then when I went over here to open this chest, I got one ghost fish out of the chest, and that's never happened to me before. I don't know. Maybe something glitched out. But I know that there's more than one enemy after this part too, but I only got one enemy. So I was not getting my proper number of enemies. And for a lot of people, they would probably say, don't you think that's probably the best thing in the world, to get fewer enemies? Not really. Not when you're trying to get a lot of money and you want more kills. So the save point's glowing. Equip the lunar, and from this point until I get to the Amazonian... Excuse me. I had to swallow. Until I get to the Amazonian Deathworm, this footage is all going to be sped up, because I don't do anything except do lunar UTs or ETs provided on if the situation is an emergency. So hit the boulder off either with a UT attack or with an arrow, or excuse me, an incendiary shuriken. And down here we're dealing with Spiny fiends. This is a gold mine down here, so take advantage of it. You could easily make 100,000 in essence down here. And I equipped a Talisman of Rebirth just to make sure that if I did die, even though I know there's a very slim chance of it, when I say slim chance, it's just because I know how thorough one needs to be down here, and I know how careful you have to be down here. And I know that you cannot take many risks down here. So pretty much just lunar UT all these guys, get all your money, and just systematically kill all these bugs, and go to the rooms that branch off the main hall and get all your. It's definitely a mistake to fill your. If you have nothing in your key gauge, see, like I have no flames in my key gauge. Don't fill your key gauge up before you come down here, because you're going to get plenty of nympho from the eggs that you get. So that's one of the mistakes I made last time. But now I know, and knowing is half the battle. More bugs up here. These are the Spiny fiends. They're not the. They're the same kind of mechanic as the bone scorpions, but I like these guys a little bit better. I think the sound effect of those of the crunching bones just gets under my skin a little bit more than killing these guys. So this took about, I think it only takes about 20 minutes, but there's no need for you to see this in real time. There just is none. So why make the video unnecessarily long and drawn out? So I'm just going back and forth. It is easy to lose one's way too and go in the opposite way, but the thing about this area is that the enemies, the bugs, that is, the Spiny fiends, they will stop spawning. You just have to kill all the waves. So I'm just going room by room. One or two rooms are empty, but one of the two rooms that is empty will have Spiny fiends drop down. So be careful about that. But just go out to all the egg sacs, bust them open. See, there's a Nympho refill right there. You won't need Nympho for the Amazonian Deathworm. You'll only need your scythe at level 3, hopefully. So once we get into one of these rooms, you'll hear the music, and then we'll see his health bar come up, and I'm going to switch to the scythe. And he's a very easy boss. Well, I shouldn't say boss. He's the mid-level boss of this stage. So I'm getting some health, finally. Took a while to get some health refills. There we go, got money and health that time. Switching to the scythe because I heard him coming. And here's his health bar. And now it's back to real time. Okay, so this is kind of difficult as far as, like, if you stand too far back, you may not hit him. But I think my problem was not really about my standing back too far. I think that I was either releasing too late or too soon, because the guy does dash across the hallway pretty quickly. Once you hit him, though, he's going to stay out in the middle of the hall, and his tongue, he's going to try to spear you right through the chest. But as you'll see here, his tongue goes right through me. Like, I have iframes. Like, it's really bizarre, but the tongue can't go through. Well, it actually does go through, but it doesn't even consider that you're something that it should be taking damage from. So my mistake a couple times was that getting too close to the hall out there, and I thought I was standing too far back, but I don't think it matters as long as you're connecting at the proper time. I think listening is really very important here. Just listening for the sound effects that indicate he's going to spawn right next to you. So I got in a bunch of good attacks. See how his tongue just goes right through you? You're going to be fine. I don't even think we see his face this whole time. Well, there's part of his face. He's an ugly motherfucker, to be sure. And a lot of people are scared of this guy. Don't be scared of him. He's nothing. Don't waste your fear on this guy. I think he's going to hit me again. That was a pretty hefty hit right there. I'm going to need to refill. I said to myself, maybe I can get by, but it's one of those things. Why, I could use a couple healing items. I think I used 2 healing items in total. Those are $5,000 healing items, and using 2 of them, that's $10,000. But would I rather, waste a talisman of rebirth, which costs 5 times as much as that? No, I'm not going to take that kind of risk. It's just foolish. It's not economically viable. And if you could tell me which movie that is from without looking on Google, you'll be a good person, and you're awesome. So I think I just need 1 or 2 more hits on this guy. 1 more hit, and he's gone. I think this last one was the hit I needed. waiting for his arrival now. And I made contact there. So now there's no more exploring that you can do. Just walk forward and hit the save point. Okay, the next fight coming up after the save fight is versus some Deathworms. Probably 12, at least a dozen of these guys. It's a completely optional fight, and these guys, at a UT kill, they're worth 3,500 essence apiece. So if you want to strive for that, be my guest. I tried to do it a little bit, but the problem is Nympho doesn't really take too well on these guys. But Incendiary Shuriken surprisingly do. So one of the problems though is you're going to get interrupted a lot during your charges, and the energy balls that they shoot at you takes away a lot of your life, probably almost a fourth of your life or more. Excuse me. So what I like to do is kind of just mix things up here. If I were you and I wasn't going for like the Master Ninja rank, I would not fight this battle. But I'm committed to doing so and concluding all the battles in this video game. So that attack works really well when you're just jumping in the air and pressing the Y button. But about 5 daggers will probably take out one of these guys. So if you want to go for money, that's your own thing. But if you are going for money and you're getting hit too much and wasting too many items, you're not actually making money. So either don't do the fight or be very safe. This place up here is kind of good. There's not really... I looked all over for a good place. There just doesn't seem to be one that you can freely charge and attack. I think the less of these Deathworms you have existing, the more chances are that you'll get a charge off. I toyed around with staying over there, but the attacks wouldn't reach most often. So I sacrificed a lot of my Nympho over here. Got a couple of good kills right there, but this is a lot of these guys. This is the area where there's a crystal skull. But I already got the skull, obviously. So just run around, throw daggers. If you don't have daggers, this might be a tough situation for you. But I believe you might be able to backtrack to this area if you go to the save point and there's a store. If you want to do this battle a little bit later, maybe after you try the test of Valor. So we are going to be getting to the test of Valor, and I'll just talk about it when we get there, because there's a lot of time to discuss things during the video, because it'll probably be about 25 minutes. It's a tough one. I've got to say, it's really tough. But I didn't take more than like 6 attempts to beat it. So here I'm just... Oh, was I dragging Essence right there? No, I thought I had it. Oh, yeah, I was dragging Essence. There's 3,500. So you definitely want those orbs. So you see that hit right there? You take a lot of damage, and it's frustrating as hell getting interrupted during a charge. Another thing that might screw you up too is when you're on the swamp area. These guys are going to burrow themselves under the ground, and then they pop up wherever you are. So you have to really get off and attack quickly, and then once you see them going underground, 100% of the time they're going to be right underneath where you're standing. So just be aware of that. I think I got a couple of kills somewhere over here. A couple of guys go down in tandem. Not particularly sure though. The move where they spear you with their tongue. I guess these are like the Amazonian Deathworm, but just in smaller form. I guess they mature and get larger. So this is a pretty safe spot to stand. And I had to release the charge right there. I didn't want to get gutted. So I'm using Nympho. You see the Nympho. I think the Void would probably be the best at level 3, but I only have it at level 1. I'm going to get it up to level 2 in the next section of the game before the save point. So there's a down guy right there. I think that might have been a $3,500 kill. No, I could tell because of the orb, the size of the orb. So the scythe has a lot of range. I have to give it that. It's a really nice weapon. And sometimes it feels like I'm a little bit more labored when I walk when I have the scythe equipped, which would make sense since it's such a huge weapon. Like Ryu's a little, he seems a little bit more top heavy and slower. I'm not sure if they made it that way intentionally or if it's just me, just being misunderstanding what's going on. But yeah, jumping in the air and pressing Y is really good because he does that circular spin attack, and you're pretty safe when you're doing that unless you have other guys nearby you trying to throw their projectiles at you. But basically it's kind of luck. I mean, about getting those charges off in time. There we go. That was a good attack right there. I'm not sure how much they give you ordinarily with just an ordinary kill. Maybe 300 essence, 350. Don't know for sure. We're going to get the Vigorian flails over here now. By the way, if you miss anything in the game, you can buy it at the store. So I'm not sure. I actually missed the Flame Phoenix because I was just going at breakneck speed on a replay of Chapter 6, and I just forgot to pick it up. It happens, but jump in the water, use the Gatling Spear Gun, don't move, don't aim, just press the B button until they're all gone. And then from here, we're going to cross the way, and the next time you hear from me in a few minutes, we're going to be tackling the Test of Valor. Hi everyone, this is Big Benedict. We're on the 7th Test of Valor in this game. This is Chapter 9, Heart of Darkness. So we have 30 of the Gold Vangelfs / demon spawns and 70 of the marionette demons. So this is a really hard trial, in fact, and I completely depleted my inventory during this trial. Definitely want to do Lunar 360 ETs on the Gold Vangelfs because that is going to kill them and not much risk is involved. I would come here with 30 arrows as well as 30 incendiary shurikens. The wind blades work really well on the marionette demons, whom I don't believe can be affected at all by the incendiary shurikens, but you're going to see me toss the incendiary shurikens pretty much anytime I have any Gold Vangelfs on the map left. That's just because even though I know it's probably firing, or excuse me, auto-targeting at the marionettes, at least I can get in some hits on the demon spawns. So it only takes 2 daggers to get them killed with an incendiary shuriken. The first one delimbing them, the second one killing them. The only problem is, getting those daggers to connect, and a lot of the daggers are going to get just wasted. So this first part's pretty tough, and I hate getting juggled by their flame attack, their projectile. So I'm going to use life. I'm going to be using all the lives of the 1,000 gods I have, and this is a trial where you're pretty much just doing it for the achievement because, or just the fun. But this isn't really fun because it's too hard. But anyway, it's still kind of fun, I suppose, in a way. I just don't like those marionette demons. They're really awful. really bad news. But when I say for the achievement, I just meant that the reward you get is a Talisman of Rebirth, which is, I mean, we're going to get one of those in a subsequent part of this chapter. So pretty much, I don't know, just it's that kind of attack. And on the Marionette Demons, it's the prescription for success on those guys is that you don't jump, don't evade jump, but you're going to see me doing it constantly because I just like to get more spaced out from the enemies, not because there's less risk if you just dash, but I can't help it. I'm sorry. But yeah, so use your Spirit of the Devils prior to having yourself use the Talisman of Rebirth, though. I was also trying to restrain myself from using the Talisman of Rebirth until the Marionette Demons, because I would rather have to use that later on in this trial rather than right off the bat, when I don't want to lose so much progress, and you're likely to get killed in this section when you're just fighting the marionettes. I mean, I got killed a couple times versus the gold Van Gelfs, but I mean, for now the priority is slaying those Van Gelfs. So when these guys are in the air, they will fire their projectiles. I think they throw 2 at a time, and if you get hit by one, you might get juggled by the other one. So really watch out. It takes away almost all of your health. It's really bad. But a lot of times they'll just be standing on the ground, running at you. So prepare your charge. You have ample time, and to get a 360 ET is very easy. The timing window, I mean, you don't have to be holding it too long to build up an ET. It's a base level charge. So yeah, I more or less depend on the incendiary shurikens to take care of the dragons, and just use the wind blades. My wind blades are at level 3. My Nimpos, they're all at level 3 except the Void, which is at level 2 currently, and the Flame Phoenix is just going to have to remain at level 1. Also, when they're all in I'll show you when it happens. I don't think you can OT them when they're in a particular status, even though they're in OT status. When they've staked themselves into the ground, but you see smoke coming out of them, meaning they're at one hit's going to kill them with a technique, an ultimate or obliteration technique. I'm sorry, so many techniques in this game. But I think when they've staked themselves in the ground, you can't do an OT. It has to be when they're on their legs. But yeah, this is just an endurance fight. Here we go, missed right there. I hate missing, gotta get out of the way. Gonna use another Lives of the Thousand Gods here. And since I ran out of incendiary shurikens, I'm going to equip my arrows. Arrows are very helpful when we deal with the marionette demons. They're not helpful now. Okay, so I think all the Van Gelfs are gone. I need to OT her. There we go. Now I'm equipping the scythe. Now, we fought the rocket launcher enemies and these guys in Chapter 6, but at that time we didn't have the scythe. so we really couldn't avail ourselves of its long-range efficacy here. So make sure you do avail yourself of it. Get an OT. Okay, so here's where I go around shooting arrow UTs. And just blind firing. I'm just kind of, it's one of those things where I'm trying not to look at where the enemies are, but it's not going to make them less aggressive as it does some other enemies. Okay, so I was trying to grab her, but she was not an OT status. That was my mistake. My guidebook actually lists these enemies here as one of the toughest enemies in the game, and I concur with that. The projectile attack that they do, it cannot be blocked. I'm just reading off my book here. Their projectile attack cannot be blocked, and it leaves Hayabusa open to their charge attack that frequently follows and inflicts a significant amount of damage. They also attack in groups, making it even more difficult to avoid the projectile attacks. In addition, their metal bodies make them strong against Hayabusa's weapons. Use the flying swallow as much as possible to stay on the move. And that's a joke. Who fucking wrote this? The flying swallow? Once their numbers have declined, use the flying swallow technique or switch to the eclipse scythe to inflict as much damage as possible to take them out in fewer attacks. So that's the kind of genius strategies this book gives out. But it's still a good book for what it is. Okay, so basically you're just seeing me run around, charge attacks, and I'm moving the analog stick in the direction of the enemies when I'm releasing my charge to aim the charged attack. I mean, you've got range, but you don't have. I mean, you can't hit them when you see the guys in the distance. You can't hit those guys, but normally you can hit the guys that are, within your own quadrant, like. If they're about halfway across the screen, you probably can hit them. So I know this looks like suicide some of the times. I'm just going around blindly charging, but believe you me, when I'm doing this, I don't know. This is one of those enemies that you've got to feel out and know how to work. There's one instance later in the video where I believe it was like a close call, but I knew exactly that she was going to do it. And when it happens, I will point it out. And it's not me, trying to sound like I know how to do everything in this game. It was just one of those instances in this fight where I had control because I know how to work these enemies. I know how they work. I know where I wasn't supposed to be at that time and where it was okay to stand and hold my ground. So I'll know instantly when I see it. And it occurs a little bit later in this video, I believe. But look at all that. Killed those guys with those wind blades. It's really helpful. So my strategy about the item usages is that I'll use all the lives of the 1,000 gods I have first of all, and then I'll start dipping into my other healing items and stuff like that in my regular inventory. It's just the way I like to do it. blind firing some more arrows. You're not going to miss. When you blind fire, you're not missing. You're not going to miss those. So it just takes 2 shots to kill one of these enemies. And what I like to do is just absorb the essence really quick and expedite my charge. And again, this might look like it's a little bit, you know, well, okay, that was a close call. You know, you can't know that that's going to happen, something like that, when it happens. It's just going to happen, and there is a luck factor. I'm not going to deny that, but the one occurrence that I know, where I think the enemy landed right next to me, the one I knew for certain, just based on my dealings with these enemies, that's not luck. That's ingrained skill and practice. But of course, I make mistakes. I always make mistakes. That's why, you know, if I didn't make mistakes, I wouldn't even have to use any healing items. But this is probably one of the hardest trials. I've done the trial on the next stage, and that's an easy one. That's one of those, you know, they just hand it to you pretty much. It's just deathworms and bugs. But the one on chapter 11, I think it might have been that move. Right there, I knew that I could. I just knew it. So, but if I see something else that might have been what I was talking about, other than that, I will point it out. I guess it was just a lot of those types of evasions where I knew that she would land, like, I knew if I dodged one final time, she would land like right next to me, and it always happens. And I know how to work these guys, and you're gonna have to practice if you want to, you know, to beat something like this. You really have to. Because if I had never played this game and I started to try to beat these enemies with, well, if I knew how to do UTs only, if I only knew how to do that, because that's what I'm doing here exclusively, I wouldn't know how to do this, because I would have to study these enemies for like probably 100 attempts to try to figure these guys out. But I've just been dealing with these enemies so long, since Sigma 2 and stuff like that. That's the reason why you're not supposed to jump, but I think I get hit again. Punished. Yeah, that's my punishment for jumping. But hell, I want to jump when I play, so I'm just going to take my punishment and pay the price. Ouch. 3 times. That's damage I shouldn't have received, and I'm really stubborn about how I like to play. Basically, I like to evade and dash away, just to get distance. But sometimes it's safer just to walk rather than jump. Okay, so now I'm out of arrows, and for the remainder of the video, I'm just going to be doing UTs and OTs and ETs and everything like that. So here's me dashing, here's me going with the program, just trying to, you know, do the right thing, but I can still do my own thing, even though it's partially right, and still succeed. And you could do the same thing. Just, man, it might have been over here somewhere, that one occurrence. But I mean, this scythe, it's got a lot of range, so just take that into advantage. And it's got a lot of strength too. It's got power and range. But most of this is and it isn't blind faith. I mean, wow, that was pretty close. Always just finish those guys off. I also don't recommend just going up to the enemy. Make sure you do a dash, because you get iframes during the dash. You're not completely invincible, but there do exist iframes within the reversed wind when you're moving the left analog stick and you're pressing the evade button. If you don't believe me, just look at the last video for Chapter 8 when I was dashing over those mines and I didn't get hit. Well, I got hit on one of them, but I've done it where I didn't get hit at all. So there's the proof of that. So, but 70 of these guys, that's a lot of these enemies to take care of. I also wanted to see if I bet the Tonfa would take these guys out just with an ET, but it doesn't have any range, and this is dangerous to get next to these guys. Really dangerous. Used a healing item. Yeah, in that state, you see, I think she was an OT status, but I didn't want to. You can't grab her when she's staked to the ground. I'm pretty certain of it. I don't know what he was aiming at there. So this is the point in the video where you can't afford to make any mistakes. I only have one healing item left. My health is at full capacity. I don't know what the fuck he was aiming at right there. But I mean, these enemies, they can be disposed of pretty quickly. Just with a couple of UTs, it's just those times when you're getting mauled by these guys. That's the problem, and having to use so many items. So I'm going to finish her off. That was a nice kill. Now I've got another one. That was pure luck right there. But I think there really should be a kill counter on these. It should tell you how many you have to kill and how many you have killed. Like, it should say, like, 55 of 100. It should. That would be really nice. That might have been pure luck, too. But I think this has the potential to be the hardest test of Valor. I have not seen or played the ninth and final one. I know I know what it is. It's the red dragons again and the Deathworms. It shouldn't be that hard. It's probably tedious. But 70 of these enemies, that's damn hard. See, here I'm just walking around the enemies instead of jumping. That's probably how I didn't get hit so much either. But oh yeah, I hate getting trapped. Try not to get, if you can avoid it, try not to get trapped. Don't let them surround you and trap you. Just like my guidebook said, even though it dispensed pretty shitty advice about doing the fly swallow. Yeah, try doing the fly swallow on these enemies. See how good that'll help you. But it did say that these guys do like to group up on you, and hell, 5 at a time is really hard here. I mean, we only had to face 3 at a time back in Chapter 6, but there's 5 at a time here. It's really hard. But fortunately, they're not too aggressive. That's the one thing that I like about them. But if I had to say, a final verdict about this Test of Valor in particular, yeah, you can make a lot of money, but as long as you can restrain yourself from using a bunch of healing items, I would say go for it. But it's one of those ones where, I mean, if you get hit by these enemies, you're almost dead. So you have to have a lot of healing items here. But for the reward, it's not worth the risk. you know, for a Talisman of Rebirth, which I had to use one during this anyway, so we're going to get another one coming up in this level. It's not worth it. But, you know, if you're going for karma or the achievement, you know, you might as well do it. That was a close call. Another fuck. Whole series of close calls right in a row. Okay, I think we're almost... Yep, one enemy left. I'm sorry I was silent for a lot of this, but it's the same thing over and over, you guys. I'm sorry about that, but we try to do the best we can, don't we? And we succeeded, but it came at a pretty high price, and the reward it's not worth it. But you know, you can still try dabble with it if you want to test it out. But my verdict is definitely, you know, stay away from it. If it's damn hard. So we took the fish out. We're going to go back to the portal and continue our chapter. But thanks for watching, and I hope that you get the achievement too. It's going to pop up right here just in case you wanted to know what it is. But anyway, take care, and thank you for watching. Okay, having concluded that test of Valor, and having got our achievement, we're going to do the next battle up ahead. We're going to be facing chainsaw bazooka zombies presently. And this wall is not going to let us open that door, until we take out these enemies here. Traditionally, I would say to kill the blood eels first. It's just that there's more of a chance of you dying on the blood eels than there is in this part here with the chainsaw bazooka zombies. I mean, these guys are just a money source, plain and simple. They give you 1,400 in essence for a UT kill, so definitely strive for that. Yeah, I really don't like how you have to kill the blood eels. We already killed them way back before I did the test of Valor, so it's kind of a lame formality that you have to do. But one reason to kill the chainsaw bazooka zombies first is that if you do go over to the blood eels first, then what happens pretty much all the time is that you'll have a couple of stragglers. These guys here follow you, and they will go into the water and drown. You'll lose out on getting your 1,400 for these kills. So it's just up to you. I mean, as long as you just stay in the water and just rapidly fire at the blood eels, you should be okay. You know, if you start out with enough health, because even if you get bitten, I will get bitten. They do drag. They will have. In the next part, I get dragged around in the water. And I thought I was going to die, but, you know, I lived. So, I mean, it's not a death sentence getting bitten by them. It's really not. So always remember, you could snipe these guys for the same amount of money that a UT weapon, a weapon UT would deal you, or rather give you. We're going to be doing some sniping on the next level of these guys too. So, wind path off its head. Now, okay, I don't think I've covered this yet because this is the first time we're facing this enemy, but When I snipe them, I usually try to aim at their gun so that they lose their gun. But sometimes if you aim at their gun, the gun won't get lost. They'll lose their chainsaw instead. It seems pretty. I don't know if it's random or not, because sometimes it does work. Like I'll nail the. I'll shoot the gun off their hands, and then they're only a threat at melee range if they have a chainsaw. So it's better to shoot the gun off than shoot the chainsaw off. But sometimes, trust me, like I'll be aiming directly at the gun, and then the chainsaw comes off instead of the gun, which I was aiming at. So it's a little bit random. Anyway, I slayed all those guys. Now I'm going to equip the Gatling spear gun. I mean, I could have done this a little bit better. So you got to get to the surface really quick. And I think if I just hadn't moved, I would have been fine. I don't know. Oh yeah, I remember. I was trying to get to the other side where I shot these guys originally when I first came here after dealing with those the Deathworms. So yeah, this was a mistake over here, and it's laughable in hindsight. And I wasn't even really worried because I knew I could access my menu. The game is pretty forgiving in that respect. So now I'm just going to get over here and start firing. There does come a point though when I just release the left trigger and just start blind firing. See how he's gonna watch him aim to the right now in a minute. See how he aims to the right? That's auto firing at its finest. It works really well in this game. Blind firing / auto firing. Oh yeah, so I just beat the stage and I'm on chapter 10 currently. I got a bunch of combo hits. It should give you bonus points for those, but they don't. So in hindsight, I should have upgraded. I should have applied the Jewel of the Demon Seal to my Piercing Void to make the pair of Quizeticles that is the boss for this level a little easier. And I probably wouldn't have had to use a Talisman of Rebirth to give myself more Nimpo, but here's what I would recommend. I would recommend applying the Jewel of the Demon Seal to the you actually did see me apply it to the Piercing Void, but what I should have done was not have applied the previous Jewel of the Demon Seal that we acquired before, and I should have upgraded the Wind Blades up to level 2 only at this point, and then have left. I don't know. It's not that bad. I mean, it just affected the boss of this level. Because if you have your Piercing Void up to level 3, you only need to do 2 Piercing Voids per boss. There's 2 Quizeticles, so you'd only need 4 shots of your Nimpo if you hit them every time. But I think you need 3. It's 3 shots per bird with the Piercing Void at level 2. And this footage is sped up. Apologize for that, but all I'm going to be doing is sniping these enemies up here. So what I like to do is jump, get a charge real quick, and I was surprised this charge had the range to latch onto that guy right there, but I'm just going to fall back here and snipe these enemies and get my 1400 per kill. Just be careful. I mean, the further you are away from these guys, the less attention they'll pay to you. In fact, none of these guys even acknowledged me until I think one of them spawned, or one of them kind of walked over to me, and then he kind of got alerted to my presence. But basically, I'm just picking these guys off one by one, getting my 1400 per kill. And that's kind of why I justified using the Talisman of Rebirth on the boss, because I had the Piercing Void up to level 3 on my previous campaign through this game, and it took me quite a lot of tries to get this boss down, just because I needed more Nimpo, because my hits were taking less damage off of him since my Piercing Void was at level 2 rather than at level 3. So, I mean, I could have my Piercing Void up to level 2, or excuse me, I could have it up to level 3 and then have the wind blades up to level 2, and then go into the next level and get, because there is a Jewel of the Demon Seal for free in the next level that you can just apply to the wind blades. And my thinking about that is just because the staircase fight, the wind blades are the best for dealing with that. But even if I had got the Piercing Void up to level 3, I still could go into the next stage with the wind blades up to level 2, grab the Jewel of the Demon Seal, apply it to the wind blades, get that up to level 3, all in time for that fight. So that's what I should have done differently, but that's just what happens sometimes when you play. So you just gotta watch out for those type of things, and hopefully my mistake, you could just learn from my mistake and avoid it. So we're coming up on the 2 Quizetical boss fights, and of course they even have to have lackeys, some flying demons, but they don't really start coming until you take some damage off of the bosses. So you notice I already have the Piercing Void equipped. I'm all ready for the situation. So the only real reason I used the Talisman of Rebirth was because, first of all, I didn't do the magic upgrade as I needed it to. I didn't have the Void up to level 3. If I had that situation, then I could have dealt. It takes off half of his life, each bird, every hit you get. So here he is. Here they are, rather. The main thing you need to know about this fight is don't throw the Void until these guys stop. I mean, it's too hard to hit them with the Void when they're moving. So see how he stopped? Now I'm going to throw the Void. It doesn't matter where you hit them, but see, it takes 1/3 of their life away. Check out my other campaign video for this chapter. You'll see that it takes away half with the Void at level 3. So we almost got one bird gone. And this just got to the point where I said, you know what, to hell with that. I made so much money on this stage, I'll just use the Talisman of Rebirth and just have more uses of the Nimpo. So just wait until they stop, throw the Void. That's all you've got to do. It's a very simple battle. We'll be dealing with one of these guys in the next chapter, but it's going to be just one of them, and he's not going to have any lackeys. He's not going to have anybody to help him. Tired of these bosses having lackeys. Anyway, this should be the last hit. I missed, of course. Yeah, so I don't even really bother shooting these guys. I mean, I might do it if I'm bored, but this should be the last hit right here. So that's chapter 9 taken down, the Heart of Darkness. Oh, I need one more hit, of course. But yeah, this is a good level. The next level is good too, and then chapter 11 is the one I'm really looking forward to. So that's it. We cleared it. I got a head ninja rank. That's not too shabby.